Back when right on meant you stood for something and brothers marched with purpose in they step. A young Harold Bell picked up a mic and said, if truth got a home, I'm gonna broadcast that. From the 65 to right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stayed same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG day to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Back in 65, the block still said dig it. Petey Green on the airwaves, the realest to kick it. Harold slid through like Bet, took no, stayed vivid. When the hood had pain, he said somebody got a bridge. In 71, he turned the knob beside sports on the map. No cap, first black host doing play-by-play facts. Radio crackling, community tap in. If a lie hit the streets, Harold Bell started scrapping. Say it loud, era. Folks fought to be seen. Harold fought for the ones overlooked in between. Players, kids, legends, the future unseen. He put the whole DMV on his team. Fighter right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stays same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Yeah, fast forward. 80s crack the pavement, DMV slang, shit for vibe in the basement, go-go drums knocking, what's good? Round the way, hell still holding down the youth every day. Well, talk shows turn spooky, he stayed solid, didn't chase clicks, didn't fold for a dollar. He had Jim Brown pull up, Ollie on the line, sports radio, man, he redefined. By the 90s, folks, your facts before it was a trend. Harold been fact-checking them way back then. Gatekeepers hated him, he ain't been. Told Earl Lloyd's story to the hall, let him in. Keep it 100. Nah, he kept it 1,000. Long before social media started wildin'. When most shows played it safe about race, Harold Bell said names to they face.
Harold, this is Bill Hanson in Dallas. I lost your phone number when you called the other day, and I finally had to track through your notes, and I finally found this here. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, but your stuff is fantastic to read about, and everything you've done is makes what my little bit appealing off the cover of white privilege, as you say, seem rather insignificant. But I thank you for sharing this with me, and hope this message gets to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, Harold has been a crusader for the rights of black people all of his life. He has also been a crusader that has had a lot of friends, not only in the black community, but the white community in sports. He's always been outstanding, always an individual, always speaking his mind, always giving you a platform to express your views. And when I was incarcerated, he did everything he could to attack those that incarcerated me unfairly. And he's one of my friends over the years. We've done many things together. So Harold is truly a man that believes in his culture and his people and will always be that way because nobody's ever been able to change him. So, hey, that's my partner.
This is the heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman, for the best in sports and sports personalities. When I am in Washington, D.C., I check out my good friend Harold Bell and Inside Sports. Talking about a real champion, Harold Bell and Inside Sports.
I can be Harold Bell. You the hottest thing going, then I want to be you. Hi, this is Don King of Don King Productions for the undisputed champion of sports talk. You must turn to my man Harold Bell and the original Inside Sports. For the best in sports and sports personalities, Inside Sports and Harold Bell are knockouts.
Hey, this is Franklin Riley, the heavyweight champion of the whole wide world. I got all of you to check out Inside Sports with my main man, Harold Bell. Inside Sports, it's a knockout.
Hey. Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and welcome to the original Inside Sports Network. And today we got a very exciting show. You know, when Inside Sports first hit the airwaves, the original Inside Sports, not this other stuff you see, you know, the most important game, I said from the very beginning on my show, that the most important game was the game being played was the game called life. And that is no more truer than what it is today. It's the game called life. And I never thought that I would see in my lifetime, the type of things that are taking place in our community today, it is very, very difficult for me to step aside and not say anything. So, you know, the Inside Sports Legacy Network is picking up where the original Inside Sports left off. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about not just sports, we're going to talk about the game called life and the things that you've seen that are happening around us at this stage in 2026. I never thought that I would live to see it. And we're going to take our chances and call it like we see them. The truth, man, the truth. You know, we always want to hear the truth as long as it's about somebody else, but we don't want to hear the truth about ourselves. And that has to change. You know, here today, I'm going to talk about the media, because the media is definitely being affected by the political environment that we are in today. You know, where can you get the truth? Where can you get the truth? And I had an interview with Don King maybe 25 years ago. And one of the things he talked about how important the media was and how it still is important. And I want to take us through that interview. I want you to, you know, listen to it and, you know, forget the commercial, the promo.
For the undisputed champion of sports talk, you must turn to my man Harold Bell and the original Inside Sports right here on WINX Radio 1600 on your AM dial for the best in sports and sports personalities. Inside Sports and Harold Bell are knockouts. The media is vitally important, you know, and it was so important that the First Amendment after coming out of revolution was freedom of the press, freedom of demonstration, and right to protest. It is very important to have that voice of the media, the checks and balances, and that you can have a voice of outcry when any type of tyranny, any type of abusement of government. And so the media is important. The media used to report the news, now the media creates the news. And so it's a big difference now in how they've grown in elevation, stature, and esteem. The media was absolutely phenomenal to me when I came from Cleveland, Ohio to New York. And then as I continued to succeed, you know what I mean, and people began to accuse some of the reporters, they got afraid that, you know, that the leopard always returned to a spot. And so some of their own self-searching, soul-searching, and fear and apprehension of being accused of the same thing you used to do in the olden days is when they would accuse you of being a nigger lover or accuse you of some type of a knee-jerk accusation that would turn society against you. So it's that fear of extolling me in the media for my achievements and my accomplishments on a broad note as a fellow American ceased because of the fear and apprehension that was taking place within their own minds that what if I was guilty and that they had wrote these lionizing columns and things and then I would embarrass them, you know, and so that personal embarrassment played a major part of the fear and apprehension of the legendary stereotype image of people of color and had to suffer the setbacks, you know, but the setbacks, you know, is things that you have to face in life, you know, failure never. So I understand that the media, the reasoning for the media's reaction and actions in my regard, as it would be in many of the African American regard, people per se, you know, sensationalism sells better than altruism. And so people want to be able to deal with that. And so the media also has influence from the people that would be buying ads in the magazines and the papers and things that supports the paper, that supports the star. So there's an economic influence there too. So it's a thing that you have to just do with the best that you can, but it is necessary for Britain or for life. The media is something that we cannot afford not to have. You know what I mean? The best we can do is to try to correct, elevate, and to make it as righteous as possible. But it is a very necessary situation.
Okay, that was my man Don King, and that was an interview that I did with him. It had to be 25 years ago, talking about how important the media is. And you know, when I met Don King in 1972, that was my first year of Inside Sports. And what happened, Muhammad Ali, who I met on the Howard University campus in 1967, was doing an exhibition in Cleveland. And a friend of mine, J.D. Bethel, a sports writer for the Washington Star newspaper, and Harry Barnett, who was an attorney, they were going to drive to Cleveland to see the exhibition. So I was in the gym when they were talking about it. So I asked, could I jump in the car with them? And so that's what happened. I went up to Cleveland, and it was there I met Don King. Don King was introduced by Muhammad Ali, to Muhammad Ali, by Lloyd Price, the rock and roll king of rock and roll, in the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest human beings that I've ever met. He hooked Muhammad Ali up with Don King. And Don King had a shady background at the time, a hustler. He had some bad stuff on him, but Lord and Don had done business together, and Muhammad Ali believed in Lloyd Price. So he decided to go to Cleveland to do an exhibition for this children's hospital that was about to close down unless they got some funds. And Don King was the guy behind the promotion. So when I get to Cleveland, you know, I meet all the usual suspects, and Don King was one of them. And he somehow taught Muhammad Ali and allowed him to be his promoter against everybody's wishes. I mean, everybody's wishes said, no, do not mess with Don King. But Muhammad Ali, being the brother that he was, you know, he wanted to help in any kind of way if it came to elevating a person of color to the next level. So Don King became Muhammad Ali's promoter. And the next morning, J.D. Bethel invited me to breakfast. He's going to write a story in the Washington Star News on Don King. He asked me, he said, Harold, I think you need to be there. And so I went there, and there was Don King. And Don King, after it was all over, he saw that I was in with Muhammad Ali. I was in with J.D. Bethel. He said, Harold, baby, stick with me. We're going places. Now, that was 1972. This is 2026. Has nobody gone any place but Don King. But that's the chance that you take. You know, this was a brother that I thought, you know, could take me to the next level. But I was always aware, being from the streets, being from a housing project, you know, I always had my antenna up. But Don King went on to become the greatest boxing promoter in the history of the sport. He could have been one of the greatest human beings, but he just had to take that what was not his, and that was the thing, man. I was real proud of that brother, man, until he did some things that I didn't like, and I had to call him out. I was on Geraldo. That's my first national television show, and I'm on there supporting Don King against Geraldo, Bert Sugar, and another guy that had just written a book, an author, on the trials and relation to the thieving of Don King, and Jack Newfield. That's who it was, Jack Newfield. So there I am against three guys, and man, I'm playing Don King up. But anyway, that's what Don King went on to be. He became a very articulate spokesman, but a lot of things went down that, you know, that I did not like. And now here we are. The media is being attacked from all sides. Don Lemon, who used to be a host of a talk show on CNN, he was arrested. He was arrested along with another Black female journalist. Two Black people that were in that church. And that young lady right now, I think her last name was Ford. I can't think of her first name, but both of them were arrested by the FBI. The FBI went to her home early in the morning with her kids there. They waited for Don Lemon in L.A. He was on the way to the Grammys and locked him up, man. So the media is on attack. And can we run that piece on? Do we have that piece on Don Lemon at his press conference explaining what went on, Shannon?
No, we don't have that piece.
Okay, but anyway, Don Lemon is, I think, due in court next month, and he said they're gonna be able to beat this because it's the freedom of the press. It's not the freedom of the press when you got politicians thinking they can do anything that they want, and that the courts are behind them, and that's where we are now. Freedom of the press, and that's one thing you're gonna hear here on Inside Sports with Shannon and my guests. We're gonna tell the truth because that's the only thing that's gonna save us. We got to tell the truth. So I want you guys to sit back and enjoy the show today because we got another co-host who's going to co-host the show with Shannon. Shannon is my co-host and executive producer, a young brother that is very talented. But joining us, I wasn't able to be here last week, so he was the co-host along with Shannon, and he did a fantastic job. This guy is out of Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in Decatur, Georgia, where he was an all-around athlete, high school and college. He went on to become a youth advocate, a community advocate, a president of the 100 Men in Decatur, and now he's an accountant at CBS, the top accountant at CBS 46 in Atlanta. He got a youth team called Metro RBI. And just a week or so ago,
Metro Leadership Sports Academy.
Metro Leadership Sports Academy.
You're going to have Major League Baseball coming after me again, Harold.
Oh, yeah, they're coming after him again. Yeah, the brother is sending people to the major leagues, he's teaching them in high school to be great high school athletes and hoping they go into college and take it to the next level. I'd like to welcome my dear friend, John Hollins. How you doing, John?
Hey, Harold, thanks for that introduction, man. Just a couple of corrections. I used to be president of the 100 Black Men of America for the DeKalb County area, and I am an account executive with Atlanta News First now, formerly CBS Atlanta. Been doing it for about 23 years now. Before that, I handled marketing out of New York for major companies, creating campaigns for them. But yes, my heart, my goal is to work with young people from the inner city as I was, and show them that what you see, you can be. And there are opportunities. I realized I used to wear bow ties a lot because I like to wear, and because of my bow ties and my big Mercedes, they thought I was rich. I said, I need to dress down because I need to let these brothers know I'm straight from the hood, man. I just like to wear bow ties, and I just have to buy me a car. None of that represents me. So they were like, he can't understand us. He don't know where we coming from. I'm like, oh, that's so far from the truth, fellas. So I just feel honored to be on the show, having met Shannon briefly, but knowing Harold for a few years, two brothers that are on the forefront of trying to make sure society doesn't forget what we're up against, where we come from, and where we're trying to go. So, welcome.
All right. Thank you, John. And Shannon, thank you for the great job that you've been doing for these last 6 or 7 shows. It's going to be different. We got to build it, get people to be aware that we're here. But, so much is going on around us today. One of those things that are going on, a lot of folks don't know, man, I'm a big tennis fan. I love tennis. If I had to come back to be an athlete, I want to be a tennis player. I learned tennis late in life when I couldn't run up and down that basketball court anymore and block shots and all that other stuff I used to do. So I picked up a tennis racket. I became a big tennis player. And what happened this past weekend, the Australian Open is a big tournament that being played in Australia. And I happened to get up the other morning. I had a chance to see Shannon and Novak Djokovic playing in the semifinals, and they were playing big boys tennis, man. And played that. I loved it. I said, man, I'm so glad I was able to get up. Now I found out that if I get up at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, I can see the final. But Shannon, did you have a segment of that match between Sinner and Djokovic?
Yes, sir.
You hit it. I just want people to see a couple of minutes what great tennis is.
Absolutely. So these the fellas here getting it in.
Yeah, that's Djokovic close to that Sinner. That's true. Now Djokovic is 38 years old, people, and Sinner is 24.
22.
Some elite tennis from Sinner in that service game. Untouchable at the moment, 6-3.
6 against 3.
I think I'll go 5 sets. He was 22 years old. That's why he's able to run that down.
Yeah.
Djokovic on his way back. Big boys too.
The greatest of all time, producing one of the great shots of all time to take the second set.
Yeah, those are two who are in the finals, and Djokovic knocked off Sinner. That was a big upset. Sinner was ranked number 2, and Djokovic was ranked number 3. Now Djokovic has to take on a young dude that's 24 years old, the number 1 ranked tennis player in the world. And of course, I'm talking about Carlos. What's Carlos' last name?
Harold, I had the chance to go to the Australian Open back in 2000, and it was an amazing event. And off subject, just one of the things that I never forget was I went to go get my massage before going out there, and they told me I couldn't come in because somebody very famous had already booked up the whole massage thing. I mean, it was a big place. So I'm like, y'all don't have any place that I can go. And so as I'm leaving, the shark, the golfer, he passes by me. He said, "Hey, mate, are you going to get a massage?" I said, "Well, they won't let me come in because you coming." He said, "I'll come with me." So he came in and said, "Give this man a massage." So he went left and I went left, and he said, "Hey, mate, we're not getting a couples massage. You need to go that way." But I was just following him. He said, "Come with me." So
Yeah,
right.
That's a hell of a story. But anyway, tomorrow morning, Carlos Alcaraz, I think his name is, the young dude, man, the number 1, he's going to take on Djokovic. Now, they have played 9 times over the years. And guess what? Djokovic has beaten him 5 times, man. So I'm telling y'all, this is what's going to happen. Djokovic is if he happens to beat my man Carlos tomorrow, he is going to be the GOAT of pro tennis. Going sailing on by Farrar. What's the boy's name? Anita. What's the name, John? The other 2. You know.
Man, I'm not big on tennis, man.
Yeah, I know, but anyway, the 2 just retired. That means my man Djokovic will bypass them. I come up.
I still remember McEnroe and Connor.
Oh yeah. Well, guess who was? I remember them.
And Arthur Ashe.
I've interviewed.
Right.
I've interviewed Jimmy Connors on my show. He was one of the first big names that I had on Inside Sports. And but my best memory of tennis is when I was able to interview Andre Agassi and James
Coco.
Blake. James
You did
Blake.
Coco. You did Coco also, didn't you?
Huh?
You interviewed Coco also, didn't you?
No, I didn't get Coco. No.
Okay.
But I was able to interview. There I am with Andre Agassi, and I think that was 2005 when he and Price played. Blake played one of the biggest tennis matches up at the U.S. Open. Price had just recovered from a broken neck that he suffered in Rome practicing on clay, and he slid into the pole and broke his neck. And he was able to fight his way back in as a wild card at the U.S. Open in 2005. And guess who he ended up meeting? He ended up meeting Andre Agassi, who was the #1 player in the world. And they went 5 sets. And Agassi beat him. And Agassi said tonight, they played until 1 o'clock in the morning. And Agassi said the winner was tennis, not me. The winner was tennis. That was such a great match that they both put on. And I was able to interview Agassi and James Blake. James Blake is now sitting in the catbird seat. He is now at the Australian Open as a analyst for television. So James Blake has come a long ways. I remember when I met James Blake with his father and his brother up at the tennis courts up in Rock Creek when he first started the game. So tennis, wow. Yeah, I love tennis, and I
got another funny tennis story for you.
Uh-huh.
I was in the Bahamas on a company business trip, and Michael Jordan has his annual fundraiser for his nonprofit in the Bahamas, and he invites all the pros, all different sports, and so. One of my high school buddies that I grew up with, he happened to be at the event, the defensive end for the 1985 Chicago Bears, Richard Dent. So Richard Dent sees me on the outside looking in. He said, "John, man, what you doing?" I said, "I'd like to come into the party." He said, hold on. So he talked to somebody. He said, "Come on." So he let me come in. He said, "Man, don't act starstruck. Don't do anything crazy. That's all, man. You can count on me." So I go in and I'm standing beside John McEnroe. Now I'm 6'1", and John McEnroe is towering over me, probably about 3 inches. He's every bit of 6'4", right? So I get back. I tell people, man, I met John McEnroe. I didn't know he was that tall because he's about 6'4", 6'5". They say he's not 6'4", 6'5". I said, "I swear to you, he's 6'4", 6'5". He's standing beside me. So then I read an article. He says every time he goes to Michael Jordan's parties, he wears these stacked high hoop shoes because he don't want to feel short. That's why he was 6'4".
Oh man,
that's crazy, man.
That's crazy, man. I'd have bet my whole life that he was 6'4". I was arguing with him. I'm like, man, I stood beside the man.
He was right beside me.
And then I read he wear those high heel stacks when he go to Michael Jordan party.
Guys, well, let's move on. Another big topic in the news, and I'm quite sure both of you are aware, is that Bill Belichick, who's the GOAT of coaching in the NFL, retired and now coaching football at the University of North Carolina. He was up for the first year for eligibility in the Hall of Fame. And
why do you think they snubbed him?
They said no.
Why do you think they snubbed the man?
Yeah.
It's not. Hey, if I had to guess, now this is messy now. It's because he got that young woman and they don't. I think there's no reason why the man is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I don't care if he loses every game in North Carolina. He's one of the greatest coaches in NFL of all time. And what he did, I mean, he probably had, I'm trying to think how many first-round draft choices he had to actually play. He had 5th and 6th rounders. He had a system. He taught them, look what all the coaches that coached under him have gone on to do in college football and pro football. Do your job. If you're a guard and your job is to block, do your job. If you're a wide receiver, run your patterns. Don't worry about the other guy on the other side. If you're a cornerback, cover your man. He was able to get the whole team to buy in to doing their job. And if everybody does their job, in most cases, you're going to come out successful. And he did it with limited talent, in my opinion. I mean,
the best.
Tom Brady would not be a Hall of Fame. Let me tell you something. if he'd got drafted and went to the New Orleans Saints, went to the Buccaneers back in the day, went to the Raiders, went to some teams that was really struggling, didn't have blocking, but because Tom Brady lead the game, his uniform be just white as when he showed up at the game. You know, hey, Grunk, his buddy Grunk told him, he said, hey, man, I ain't doing it no more. I had 32 surgeries. He said, you ain't been hit. He said, I get hit a lot. He said, I came down here to Tampa. I played with you for 2 years. He said, Tom said, one more year. He said, I'm not doing it, man. And then Tom went out there that last year and got the crap knocked out of him by a couple of times. He realized why other people retired. Like, maybe this game for me. Hey, if you don't get hit, hell, I was watching the game when who was the old dude that came off his couch and played last year? My favorite redneck, Rivers. Hey, Rivers said, and he said, I can go out there and still do that because the rules are such that if you get rid of the ball, they can't touch you, you know, and he's smart enough to know where everybody at, and he'll throw it at the feet of somebody. I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you can hit people like they used to hit in the 70s and the 80s, man, a lot of these guys wouldn't be playing as long as they play. No, not at all, man. Nope. Hey, that's why I told Pat Dye at Auburn, I done had enough of football. I ain't playing no more quarterback. Because, hey, I went to a black high school, and they didn't wear no yellow jerseys. You know, everybody got hit. You know what I'm saying? I went out there and saw practice. I said, man, they out there wearing yellow jerseys, all the quarterbacks. They said, yeah, that's traditional in most schools. I said, man, I didn't know they had that. I might have played if I'd have known I could wear a yellow jersey because I only got hurt in practice.
Right. Your on-site rivals.
Yeah, your friends at the locker. I'm going to get you today, man.
Well, when we start talking about the Hall of Fame, and I think about Belichick being turned down his first time, I think it may be through, you know, he got caught up in a couple of scandals in the NFL, stealing signals. He was stealing signals and some other things, and I think it probably more than anything else, John.
That might have been it.
It was jealousy. It was jealousy and envy, man, that kept him out of the Hall of Fame. I don't care what he done. If he had that many Super Bowls, won that many Super Bowls, come on, what are you talking about?
Well, you and I talked about this before. The Hall of Fame and all the sports should not be in the hands of sports writers.
That's right.
Not at the level that it is. I mean, you should have somebody who actually played to be a heavy voter, and then the fans who actually watched and care, not somebody who critiques it from a writing perspective. And I believe in journalists. You're a journalist, but I think they should have some say, but they shouldn't weigh in so much where they stop people like Andrew Jones, who just went into the Hall of Fame, taking so long because he didn't play in New York long enough. You know, that's really what happens is, did you play in New York? You know, it's a lot of guys that they put up some numbers, but if they played in small markets and the writers didn't really see them, they don't get enough votes. And I don't think that's fair. Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He transformed an organization. He transformed a lot of players to go on to play with greatness, and they were okay. I mean, you know, they were okay. I'm not gonna say they weren't good. They were really good. You know, they did miracle things like when they beat the Falcons and the wide receiver Amendola, how do you say his name? The wide receiver that caught the ball off the defender's leg and then pulled it in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't teach that. That's just hard. That's just hard, man. Some people, you know, I heard Harold talking about the back shoulder pass and how he used to make that back shoulder catch. You know, some people can't make that catch because they don't know how they're going to get hit. You know, back when Harold played, you can hit him in the legs. If he do the back shoulder catch, I don't have to try to get the ball out. All I got to do is go underneath his legs and make him flip on his neck, and the ball going to come out. But now, if you do that, it's illegal. So the only thing you can do is reach around him and try to pull the ball out. But still, some people still get hit like that by accident. So you got to have a lot of heart to turn around that back shoulder catch if that cornerback has got position to be able to hit you. And Belichick, they specialize in back shoulder catches, stop and goes. They weren't fast. So what they would do is they would bait the defense into trying to do something is like, and then they would do something different. and they would always get caught, but they're still 40 yards. It's a 40-yard reception. Until they got Randy Moss, I don't think they ever had a pass pattern that went from the 25 all the way to the 100, but they would get 20 and 40 yards, 20 and 40 yards. And then Randy Moss flying up and down the field, and Tom Brady really got mad at Belichick for not wanting to re-sign him because he had the most fun he ever had in his career when he had somebody he could throw to that could run.
Yeah.
Speaking of the back shoulder pass, I said on the show before Indiana played Miami, I said, look here, that back shoulder pass, when this kid from Indiana, I've never seen any college player throw the back shoulder pass like he does, and I think it's going to determine the outcome of the game. And sure enough, the two passes that were last completed were back shoulder passes that allowed him to dive into the end zone for the 5-yard touchdown. Yeah. I know, man, that boy can throw that back shoulder pass, man. Down and out was my favorite pattern.
Phenomenal.
So I knew what it took. It took great timing between the receiver and the
quarterback.
That's right.
I could throw that pass, but you had to trust your receiver because you let the ball go before he goes into a break.
You know it.
And I know where he's supposed to be, and I go boom, and they go into his break. I'll tell you a true story. Pat Dye and Danny Ford. Pat Dye was coaching Auburn. Danny Ford was coaching Tennessee. He had just moved to Clemson, and Pat Dye said, and I quote him. He said, "God damn, John, we sat there and watched you throw that ball in practice, and we said that might be the best quarterback in the damn state of Georgia. Man, you hitting them before they turn around, and I mean it's on the numbers." And he said, and you going against the number 3 defense in the nation, and you playing with the second string offense. I said I was playing for my life.
Woo! Get rid of that ball.
In practice, we had 7 guys on our defense going to play in the pros. I played in practice for my life.
I know that's right.
And speaking of,
prepared you for the game.
One of the things I want to go back to is this Hall of Fame, man, which is nothing but a popularity contest. You really hit right on it, John, about these sports writers, man. One of the greatest guys who revolutionized the base stealing in the National League was Maury Wills. He revolutionized base stealing, man. This brother, well, Maury was my big brother growing up. So I knew what a great athlete he was. He stayed in the minor leagues for almost 10 years, man, before they brought him up. But they brought him up right in time because he knew how to he made the home run obsolete during his time in the major league. But he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But you know why he's not in the Hall of Fame?
Why is that, Harold? You
got some jealous sports writers who remember that Doris Day was his girlfriend, and they held that against him. They held that against him, man. But Maury was such an arrogant dude. I was able, with his brother and all the family asked me, Harold, campaign for Maury to get in the Hall of Fame like he did Earl Lord and Willie Wood. But Maury just was so arrogant, man. He was
unapologetic,
man. He was not gonna play the game. And I had a big write-up done on him here in Washington by Dick Heller, one of my favorite sports writers, did a big page on Maury. But Maury wouldn't even call the writer and say thank you, man. And I got teed off at it. But Maury belongs in the Hall of Fame. Johnny Sample belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I was able to get Earl Lord in the Hall of Fame only because I had Red Auerbach, Congressman John Lewis, Dick Heller, and Sam Jones all on my team to campaign for Earl Lord in 2000 when they played the NBA All-Star game here. I did a tribute to Earl Lord at the Bohemian Caverns, did a big thing. That right there, that statue is there because of my campaign. That's at the Recreation Center in Alexandria. They got another statue of him like that at West Virginia State where he played ball. But that's what it took, man. And Willie Wood, the same thing. They blackballed Willie Wood, man. Wouldn't let him in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest safeties of all time. Vince Lombardi called Willie Wood my coach on the field. But what happened when Willie went to coach at San Diego, there were drugs being used in the locker room, man, by these players. and Willie didn't go for it. He turned them in, so they blackballed him. He had to go to Canada to coach. You understand? Then he came back to coach for the Philadelphia Bell, and I'm glad I was able to help him get into the Hall of Fame because he was always one of my heroes. We worked together with DC. But the Hall of Fame is nothing but a bunch of cheerleaders who most of them never played anything. How you could not have Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? How you could not have Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, man? So it's all a bunch of jokes as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, John. You want to say something?
No, that you touched on the button that baseball is my thing. And Pete Rose, I got a chance to meet him. I should have gave Shannon a few pictures of us together. And hey, I don't know if he was the world's best person off the field, but neither was Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb killed a man. Ty Cobb was one of the most racist people to ever walk the face of the earth, but he can play baseball. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he is in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose might have gambled. He didn't gamble against his team.
That's right.
I mean, you gamble every day on yourself. It's just he put money on it. If they show me where he gambled against himself, that's different because now you're throwing the game, but you're trying to win. You're betting on yourself to win. What I don't even know what's wrong with that, but I understand no gambling. So I get the rules, but I don't understand how that was so devastating that they kept the all-time hit leader out of the Hall of Fame over there. That was just, in my opinion, that's wrong.
Insane.
Hey, John and Shannon, I want to say is why you brought that up, man. This gambling is going to kill sports, man. This gambling across the board. These kids now in high school are gambling on these games, man. And it is a lot of that's going on right now that's going to finally catch up with pro sports, man. That gambling thing.
I heard John Sally say something about that the other day on a podcast, and he was like, when I saw my man was involved in that, Chauncey, he said, I couldn't believe it. But then I thought about when we would go to Vegas, MGM Grand. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say somebody's name. That's what he said. He said,
oh, man.
He said they would give us chips to go gamble. He said they would give us chips to go gamble. We gamble, and some of us start pulling out our own money and would gamble and gamble more. But a lot of us just use what they gave us because to the audiences coming into the casinos, it looks good to see those NBA players playing also. Well, the reason why I believe Chauncey got hit, you guys say this for yourself, is I don't know if he was just there, just like we were just there. But the difference is it wasn't at the casino. It was at a private club, and they were taking all the money off the table, and all that big money wasn't going to the casino. And so, yeah, I mean, they were cheating. So they say they had, glasses and mirrors and see-through tables and all that. And that's probably true. I don't know how much Chauncey controlled that. I don't know. I mean, I can't say, but with knowing how things work, he probably didn't. They probably just paid him to show up and be there. You know what I'm saying? I think I got dropped, guys. Y'all there?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. And probably he brought other players, John. He brought other players to the table.
Well, they asked him to. They asked him to bring other players because, hey, the big time high rollers, they like to take, money from, NBA and NFL players,
sports athletes. Yeah.
Sports athletes. That's as much of a win as the money itself. When you go back to their corporate private clubs and say, man, I beat Michael Jordan out of 50,000. I beat Chauncey Billups out of $100,000.
It's a competition.
It's a competition, So I get why that's shunned upon, because if you beat me out of $100,000, $200,000, if I tell you I'll give you that $200,000 back if you can help me with this game. And they were saying ever since Damian Lillard and some other guys, Chauncey was coaching, did any of the games get thrown? Did they change it? Because if you're in debt, a guy gonna lean on you. Hey man, we can work that out, because like I told somebody when Michael Jordan was gambling, and supposedly, there was a alleged rumor that things happen, the tragedies that happened in his life might have had something to do with his gambling. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. But as I told them, they said, man, as much money as a person has, why would that happen? I said, so what you don't understand is if you owe me $1 million,
right,
and I tell you, I will give you that $1 million back to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Well, because you were 50 million, that's back when he's worth about 50. You do the opposite and then say, hey man, here go your $1 million. They're like, no, bro, we had 200 million riding on your move, and you blew it. I had 20 guys that put $10 million on the game because you said you were gonna do what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
So something got to pay, and that's the stakes that they deal with.
Real stakes.
That when they start getting caught up in these gambling rings with these big time gamblers, you know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to make $1 million. They playing games with you. $1 million, 500,000. That's playing games. Once they get you on the hook, then they get on the phone and they call everybody and say, hey, go for the over. He ain't gonna score no more points than this. Go for the under. He gonna do this, and they don't tell you to throw the game. That's not what they tell you. Because I saw some of the pros who got caught up in that talk about it. They'll just say, hey, man, you average 24 points a game. Today, you can't score over 20. You can't score over 20. No matter what. If you have to take yourself out, you can't score over 20. Because they've already got the actual science guy to break it down. If I can get 2 guys on that team that average 24 points a game, and I can get both of them to eat 4 points, that 8 points, and the spread is 3, I got a great chance of winning. Great chance of winning. And so they don't. Big time gamblers don't play the odds. They don't play the odds. You know, I mean, hey, they hustle. They hustle.
Yeah, it's a hustling. You know, with that said, you know, a lot of people can actually see because of the digital market now, but this has been going on. You know what I mean? This been going on way before now, where now people can see it. Even the you know, soccer leagues, they have the VAR now where they can see, you know, plays, checks for offsides and things like that. And because of the gambling, you know, referees are getting fired behind not making the right calls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, what about those 2 referees that one went to jail and they finally came out? They were cheap.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson said clearly he knew one of the guys was cheating on him. And they had decided every time AI get the ball, we're going to call a carry. And AI look up like, man, I've been playing like this for the last 3-4 years. Why y'all doing it now? But because he wouldn't make a call and AI cussed him out, they decided to come together and then pick on him. I mean, you know, these things, it might be why Major League Baseball going to an electronic umpire.
Yeah.
You know, the home plate umpire is no longer going to be there.
Right.
It's going to be electronic. They're going to let the man have it on the bases because you got instant replay. So you might as well call it right because we can see the instant replay. But strikes and balls are not a part of instant replay.
Right.
And so, hey, game on the line, 3-2 count, ball 6 inches outside, and you go, strike 3. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
That's right.
That's it.
Now we got an electronic box. It's a strike because it has to hit those lines. It has to be inside of it. A lot of people say, well, I don't like that because it takes away the beauty of baseball. Right. Well, you know, that reminds me of Donald Trump saying gonna make America great again. You trying to go back? Because anybody trying to go back to where it was. You know what I'm saying? Hey, change is the only constant in life. Change is the only constant in life. And
it's here.
And if you want to live 88 long and beautiful years like Harold Bell, you got to be able to handle change.
Got to.
Hey,
adapt.
This man, 88 years old. He doing podcasts. He on the computer. He writing on Apple. He writing on Microsoft. Hey, I struggle going from an Android to an Apple phone, and I'm 63. So I'm like I'm trying to be like Harold, man. Hey, you got to read up on it so you can keep on changing, keep on moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I want to run this by you guys before we get out of here. What about the transfer portal and with college people, man? Tell us, man, what role is that playing now, John? That's the transfer portal, man.
Oh my God. Let me tell you. high school players, especially baseball, almost don't have a chance to sign a scholarship. Grades, and so thank God we went in this direction 15 years ago. Focus on academics, because a coach don't have 2 years to put you in the game. He needs you to be ready to play now. So if you're a coach and your job depends on it, let's just go to Indiana and Miami. Miami had 5-star players. They were highly ranked. But Indiana, they went and got 3-star players that's been playing for 5 years. You rather have a 5-star freshman or a 3-star 5-year player? Because now I got a grown man that then played college ball and then went through the mistakes. May not be fast as Tony, but guess what? They know how to box him in and keep him honest, and they know how to hit hard enough to keep the other side ready. I mean, Indiana was like the Cleveland Browns playing somebody. They might not be a great NFL team, but for college, there were some grown-ass men. And with the NIL, if you can't buy them, and that's what the NIL does, then use the transfer portal to give them a new life. Get somebody in Division II, somebody in the SWAC, somebody playing in the Colonial League, somebody playing in the U.S. Conference, a chance to get on national TV, show what he got. You got 1 more year. You can do it. You 25, 26, come on. I got a spot for you. Their average age was 23 years old. I mean, usually you out of school by then. You got a guy maybe on the red shirt is 23. Their average age was 23. They had 3 26 and 4 25-year-olds. I mean, those are some old guys. I ain't mad at him. I'm not mad at him. I mean, he used the system because he knew he couldn't recruit against Ohio State. He couldn't recruit against LSU, Miami, those big dogs. They're going to get those 5 stars. So guess what? I'm smart enough where I can get talented guys who played 2 to 3 years, and that's what happened in baseball now. They're taking guys who've been sitting on the bench. For example, Florida A&M. I'll call him out, Coach Shoot. He had 3 of my guys down there, freshmen. 2 of them didn't put up the numbers that he wanted to. And 1 had a concussion, got hit in the head. And he just told all of them that he's going to have to take the scholarship because he got some guys transferring in from a 4-year, they're seniors, that got 1 more year left, and they want to play, and he need them to play. And so because, hey, he wants to win because he gets evaluated. He gets evaluated. So they can jump out of that portal and just come down there and play 1 year. They throwing 92, 93. They didn't play it in the SEC. They didn't play it in the ACC. And you talking about going to the SWAC. That's automatic. That's like what the Indiana did. You know what I'm saying? They put themselves in a position, and I'll be watching them. They're gonna have a heck of a team, I bet you. You know, hey, and he's gonna retire in a couple of years, so he's just trying to win now. You know, and my kids, they actually had scholarship offers other places, but they like FAMU so much that they decided to just stay and be students. They all 3.5 and 3.7 students. So the majority of their scholarship was academic. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, before we get out of here, I want to move to one more thing, and I'm going to talk about as we head into the 2026 NFL season, we got 1 black head coach under contract out of 32 teams, and that black head coach is Houston. What is the Rooney Rule doing, man? It means absolutely nothing. It's a joke.
Nothing.
I mean, they're firing black coaches like it's a fire sale, and nobody, but they're recycling these other guys, man. They showing up everywhere. They've been in the coaching cycle for 30 years, and they still coaching, man. So I just want to get y'all's opinion as we head out of here, heading into the Super Bowl. Nobody is standing up saying anything.
I think there's an unconscious, and I really do mean unconscious, aspect of racism that is in our society, even though the Trump administration has made it conscious for many. But I think from an NFL standpoint, they recycle guys because they see greatness in these guys because they see it in themselves. and they look like them, and they think
You look like them. That's right.
they think he gonna do it this time. But when a brother fails, then it's different. They look at him like we gave him a chance. You
Right.
know, I think Raheem and I first of all, I love the Falcons. I'm a big supporter of Arthur Blanks and everything that he does. But I think to fire Raheem and to bring a guy in that had a record worse than his, I don't understand that. And the guy may
Doesn't
come in and
make
do a
sense.
great job. He may come in and do a great job, but I think the problem with Raheem was he wasn't an offensive coordinator. He shouldn't have ever handled the offense. Just because you're a head coach does not mean you should be able to run the offense. That's why you have a president and a GM. You as the head coach, you manage your staff. Y'all have a game plan. You talk to your offensive coordinator. You let him know what you're trying to accomplish and what you want to see get done. But then after that, let it go. It's like a machine operator in a plant, a Ford plant. You can't stand over him while he's trying to operate that machine. Somebody gonna get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, trying to run the offense because you've always been a defensive guy. What was the strength of the Falcons? Defense. And it's going to be that, and bring an offensive mind in. The only time the Falcons made the Super Bowl last, they had a great offensive mind. Now, that offensive mind caused them to blow it, but still, he did the same thing with San Francisco the next year. He don't know how to take his foot off the gas and start running the ball. But I think he learned now. What's his name out there? Schottenheimer. What's the guy out in San Francisco? What's the coach? Schottenheimer. When he had the Falcons, man, they running down the field. They got a 28-3 lead. It's time to run the ball now. You can't keep throwing the ball because you're not eating clock. You got to learn how to have clock as your friend and try to get the lead and be able to work on both. You keep trying to put up numbers and numbers. All of a sudden, the defense is going to adjust. So you have to adjust. That's the great thing about the NFL. It's constant adjustments every quarter. Constant adjustments
absolutely.
every quarter.
And the Rooney Rule, yeah.
I think the Rooney Rule. I think the Rooney Rule is dead. I think the Trump administration has made everybody comfortable in saying I get to do what I want to do, and it's the DEI that's dead. And the unfortunate aspect. I'm not a big, and a lot of. I think I shared this with a CEO, a black CEO. I'm not a big proponent of affirmative action, but I feel we have to have it. I feel we have to because people will not do what is right. So you have to force the issue to create opportunities. But I believe in people earning it on their own. And guess what? With DEI, white women, Asians, Hispanics, gays, and then black men, we still was on the bottom of the list. So getting to the DEI didn't hurt us. It hurt white women and black women, because they were the biggest proponents of getting advantages because of that. But as far as black men, we was at the bottom still. And so you get rid of DEI and let us earn on our merit and what we do, then fine. But you're not going to do that. You're going to create a privilege system, because when you can let come out of your mouth that these people are getting white men jobs, then that means you already said without saying that they deserve it, whether they earned it or not. They're their jobs. You know what I'm saying? And that's how stupid that statement is. And that's why affirmative action has to be done, which, as I say, I believe in earning everything I got. I don't want nobody to give me anything. But unfortunately, life is not like that. That's why America is still the greatest country in the world, because you can become an entrepreneur and start your own business. Because people are never going to do right by you. They're going to do right by themselves for the most part.
Yeah. And, it's a pipeline, for this system that they have. They lining up who they want, who they, want to give that, merit to. They always hold us to a higher standard anyway, just because of the way that we have performed and the things that we have done across sports, across just life in general, all the obstacles we've overcome, as, melanated people. So, they're not basing it on performance, and because they got that stronghold, they'll continue to move freely, just like you see what they're doing with ICE, which is a separately funded organization within the government, that, you know, is similar to the way other leaders have done things across the world and in history. And, you know, tragically, you know, it's causing a lot of the people to experience the Black experience here in America. So, you know,
Yeah, that's
with
so
that,
real.
yeah, with that, we're gonna, you know, have to, you know, come together, stand up for what's right, and, you know, continue to, you know, lead and, you know, not give up on it. But again, you know, we see who we got in control right now. And hopefully everybody will get out and vote this year. That's one component that definitely helps change that narrative and what we got going on. So I encourage my young brothers to, you know, register to vote, get out there to vote. Uh, we are voting this year, so pay attention.
Well, as Harold Bell said, and I've heard him say many times, everything black ain't for you, everything white ain't against you.
Correct.
We as men have to keep open minds, evaluate people for where they are and who they are. Don't get caught up in administrations, Democratic or Republican, but get caught up in the only administration that matters to me, and that's the administration of God. And God teaches me to love everybody. And I exude love and I give it. But when I find out that you're not trying to receive it, I'm not chasing you down. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep on going to try to help people that won't help. Everything that I have is for the grace of God. And I thank you guys for this call, having this opportunity to talk and chat. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and we just want to let the world know that 3 men out here actually care.
Absolutely.
Shannon, what we got going out of here? We need to get out of here and look forward to next Saturday. What we got going out that we missed?
Absolutely. So we got my guy. If y'all haven't tapped in yet, please, you know, tap in. It's a great resource. It's a great network for you to have that elevated Black experience. This is Black Zone.
They want to erase us. If there was ever a time to elevate our voices, share our stories, build our communities, embrace our creativity and ingenuity, as well as create safe spaces controlled and owned by us, it's now. Welcome to the Black Zone. Black Zone Social. Black Zone Television. Black Zone Magazine. For you. For me. For us.
You know, as we go out of here, man, I want to take time out to say thank you to Congressman Steny Hoyer of Prince George's County, the 5th District, getting ready to retire. After 40 years, I met Congressman Steny Hoyer down in Annapolis through my mentor, Senator Decatur Trotter. You can see right in the middle of those pictures of all the politicians that I have broken bread with who have helped me. Steny Hoyer has always been there. Go miss him. There's no doubt about it because, man, what is following him, man, is not something that I can see us depending on, you know. Steny Hoyer is in my Hall of Fame. You can see him right up there under Jackie Robinson. So, like, every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy, man. And we got to realize that. Also, say goodbye to Eleanor Holmes Norton. Congressman Norton is retiring in Washington, D.C. She helped me get Burt Sugar Day in Washington, D.C. Burt was a native Washingtonian. There it is. There's the congressional record. I also was in the congressional record, Congressman Lou Stokes, Bob Dole. So, man, it's a lot of things going on, and we just can't give up. We just can't give up. We got to depend on young men like, of course, Shannon and that group that he's associated with, and John and I got to support those type of efforts. So I just want to say thank you, man, to Maurice Woodson of Black Zone magazine and the great job that he's doing to see that our history is not suppressed. And to see my cousin out there, man, being the man that he is. You don't hear a lot from him, but he's helping Black folks. And I'm talking about Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's young brothers like that, man, that know how to reach back and try to help not only himself, but also his people. So until next time, I'm Harold Bell for, of course, my man John and Shannon. Have a great day.
Back when right on meant you stood for something and brothers marched with purpose in they step. A young Harold Bell picked up a mic and said, if truth got a home, I'm gonna broadcast it. From the 65 to right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stayed same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG day to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. The OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Back in 65, the block still said dig it. Petey Green on the airwaves, the realest to kick it. Harold slid through like Bet, took notes, stayed vivid. When the hood had pain, he said somebody got a bridge. In 71, he turned the knob beside sports on the map. No cap, first black host doing play-by-play facts. Radio crackling, community tap in. If a lie hit the streets, Harold Bell started scrapping. Say it loud, era. Folks fought to be seen. Harold fought for the ones overlooked in between. Players, kids, legends, the future unseen. He put the whole DMV on his team. Right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stays same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Yeah, fast forward. 80s crack the pavement, DMV slang, shit for vibe in the basement, and go-go drums knocking what's good. Round the way, hell still holding down the youth every day. When talk shows turn spooky, he stays solid. Didn't chase clicks, didn't fold for a dollar. He had Jim Brown pull up, Ollie on the line. Sports radio, man, he redefined. By the 90s, folks, your facts before it was a trend. Harold been fact checking them way back then. Gatekeepers hated him, he ain't been. Told Earl Lloyd's story to the hall, let him in. Keep it 100. He kept it 1,000. Long before social media started wildin'. When most shows played it safe about race.